Hey, in this episode, I was able to sit down with Colin Charnock. This past year in 2024, Colin ended up earning a position as the number 5 rookie in EcoShield's national top 10 rookie class. Now, one of the things that really stands out to me about Colin is while he demonstrates exceptional fortitude, work ethic, strength, just a lot of things that it takes to be the best of the best, he makes it look easy, which is one of the really fun things about interacting with Colin. So I really hope that you guys get as much from this episode as I did. Hey, man, let's go. Colin, good to see you, man.
Good to see you, dude.
Thanks for making the drive in after a couple of adjustments to the microphone.
We made it.
We're ready to go, man. I'm fired up. But first things first, before we dive into the topic of a lot of questions here, just what have you been doing since the summer ended?
College, just back to the normal, boring life, except it's less boring. After a summer of selling bug spray, normal stuff. Senior in college, see the family on the weekends. Boys are good, college boys.
Yeah, you play soccer, right?
I played soccer for 3 years in college, then ended up dropping this season just because I wanted to knock through the 31st.
Hey,
I was supposed to move in like August 11th. My coach just texted me like, hey, like, why is none of your stuff filled out? I'm like, dude, I don't think I could come back. So I would have missed all 2 days and everything, like first games, so dropped.
Hey, top 5 rookie life, you know?
It's hard.
What position do you play in soccer?
I was left wing.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fun.
You would you consider yourself really just competitive in all facets of life, or is that something?
Yes. Yeah.
What's the story? What's the soccer story that kind of shows that? What do you got, man?
Dude, senior year of high school, state cup, semifinal. There's a Colin on the other team.
Okay.
He's the 10. I wasn't playing left wing back then. I was the 10, which is like the attacking midfielder. It's like the guy on the team that touches the ball the most, essentially.
Okay.
And so, like, I was one of the better players on the team. He's the best player on the other team, and his name's Colin, and it's tied. And, like, no, we were down 2-1, like 80th minute. Soccer game's 90 minutes.
Okay.
We get a free kick, top of the box. I put it, like, top corner, bar down. Sick goal, tie the game, like 9 minutes left.
Let's go.
And then the kid on the other team named Colin scored in, like, the 90th minute, and we lost. I will never forget that game, and I'm just, like, still angry about it.
What kind of traveling you been doing since summer?
Since the summer, we hit Miami for, like, 6 days. That was lit. 3 days in the mansion with all the boys, the office, and then 3 days of working, obviously learning. AZ, golfing down there with the boys. That was fun.
I heard you golf, huh?
I dabble, yeah.
A little bit.
I didn't play competitively, but I play a lot, yeah.
Who else is good? Like who do you compete against on the team?
Dane. Dane, yeah. It's crazy. He hadn't golfed in, like, I don't even know how many years at the beginning of the summer. And I told him, like, I'm going to have to golf every Sunday to stay sane throughout the summer. Like, I need to golf in the summer or else I won't be okay. And so we went and we played every summer. Like, for beginning of the summer, first round we played chips in from, like, 30 yards. And he's, like, rusty. His swing looks terrible. By the end of the summer, he's, like, as good as me and beating me sometimes. It's like,
wow.
His hand-eye coordination is like a baseball player.
And he's also got a lot of strength he's tacked on too.
Every Sunday of the summer we're playing. Going back to Arizona next week, and then Colorado after that. We got the cruise in, like, what, 3 weeks now? 4 weeks, month?
It's
something like that.
Yeah, it's getting close to a month out. Hey, that's one of the most fun times.
And I'm excited. That'd be cool.
So, all the top 15 rookies, obviously people watching this know that the top 15 rookies get to go on that trip. What's a highlight that stands out to you from this past, month's excursion?
Dude, Cabo, favorite part was probably the Pelican Rock. There's like I don't know if you guys have seen, like, the old videos from, like, 2020, 2021 top 15 trips. I don't know if you were the videographer on all those, Berto, but
not yet.
It's good stuff. But I would watching those before the summer, like, oh, I'm gonna be on that trip. And in each video, they go jump off this rock, and I'm like, oh, I need to jump off that rock. I had a picture of it on my vision board. Finally got to jump off the rock, scuba dive a little bit, but it was dope.
You see the seal out there?
Yeah, it was nuts. He's like 10 feet from you. You're trying to climb up the rock.
Did you see what went down with the seal?
When he jumped in the water?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's like everyone's in there like, he's underneath me.
Man, that was wild. Yeah, somebody made a ballsy move to
I think it was Riggs.
Yeah, make his presence known to the seal. Dude, I was out with the guys, and I was like near the outside, and I remember my heart race, like just starting to race when the seal jumped in the water, and I was like, I'm just gonna swim to the middle. Yeah, he'll take out somebody else.
Yeah, I guess. Oh my God.
One of the things that stand out to me from that trip, man, like you said that you saw those videos. We were ever at what is it, Mango Deck?
Yeah.
You said something about the background of your phone that I remember. Like, hey, what do you remember about that conversation?
At Mango Deck?
Yeah.
It's a little fuzzy. I'm joking. No, it was like, what am I going to make my lock screen now? Because I've had it as like, over the summer, it's just Cabo. Picture of like that view, that beach. So what am I going to change it to? The next goal. Yeah. I don't know what that is yet. I don't have a new one yet. It's just me and the boys now. But forever, it was just a picture of that view. And then we were there just looking at it. That was cool.
Yeah, it was like, it literally put his phone up. Colin put his phone up. We're standing at the beach, and we're looking out into the ocean at exactly what is on his background. Like, it's the same background. It's got the same rocks.
Here, I can change it back.
That was let's show the camera real quick.
Yeah, it was like just this.
Yeah, that was a moment.
But that's cool.
I'm so grateful that you're able to take the time out and answer in kind of like one swoop things that a lot of different people have reached out, just wondering, hey, how did he do what he did this past year in Detroit? And I want to walk through, if you will, your overarching, steps that led you to starting the summer. So what the preparation period was like, and then I'd love to get a little more granular as to what the summer itself, your rookie year, was like in 2024. So what, how'd you end up getting the job in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, never, like 2 years ago, if you told me I'd end up doing door-to-door sales, I would have said you were crazy, because I had no idea what I was doing. So for 3 years, I was just a regular old college student with no direction, really. And then about a year ago this time, maybe like a year ago, 2 weeks ago, like mid-November, kind of had like an epiphany, like, yeah, I'm a junior in college. I've spent a lot of money playing soccer, but I have no idea what I do. Like, I need to figure it out. Like, eventually I need to make like enough money to support myself, go do what I want. Because like, every teenage guy has the idea, like, you don't want to be in the rat race. Right. I had this idea, like, oh, I'm not going to be in the rat race. Like, I'm gonna make it. But like, my habits did not align with the guy that was going to make it. Just regular college bro, as you can imagine, what a college bro's habits are like. And then, yeah, called my dad, was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I have no direction. Like, I bring absolutely zero value to society. No one's going to pay me to do anything other than landscaping and wait tables like I'm already doing, because that's what I was doing. School year, I was working at Panera. But, like, those aren't jobs you can, like, do. So then I just kind of started that day. Jumped on LinkedIn, started doing the things that you do when you want to get like an internship, which I wasn't even doing. So jumped on LinkedIn, handshake, started making a profile. Like, I had a resume, but it was terrible. Got like a resume, got it like looked at by a bunch of different people. Just started doing like the really basic stuff. And then once you get like that foundation of like a profile, then I could start like connecting with people. Saw a guy on LinkedIn. He connected with me. This ended up being Dane, actually.
The great Dane.
Yeah, the great Dane. But I see his profile, and it was like, yeah, I do door-to-door sales. I was like, okay, cool. I'll just connect with this guy. And then I read a little bit more. Then like a week goes by, and I'm on LinkedIn just like scrolling the feed, and he posts like a graphic. It was like half and half, and it was like, your summer job, and it was like $15 an hour. 15K summer earnings, like 12K, whatever it is. Historically, that I'm making like 12K in the summer. And then my summer job is like $70 an hour, $60,000, resume builder, all this stuff. And I'm like, at this point, I was already kind of decided on sales. I'm like, okay, only way to get good at something is to do it like over and over and over again. I knew that from soccer, just like being an athlete. Yeah. To get good at like a craft, you got to do it, obviously. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll go struggle for a summer, learn a skill set. The money I wasn't really thinking about. Obviously, the money's great, but it was more like, okay, I'll go struggle. No way I'm doing it for more than one summer. Here we are. But I'm going to struggle for a summer, have 10,000 conversations, get good at sales, and then, yeah, jumped on it. I shot him a DM, was like, hey, bro, like, thinking about doing this door-to-door thing. I don't know if it's like bug spray, solar, what I want to do, but what can you tell me about door-to-door? Like, how's it going to benefit me?
Where did this self-awareness come from that you were not in the path that like you had always imagined that you would be on, right? You like, where did the realization come from that you needed to pivot? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
What happened?
So my best friend doesn't go to college with me.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to University of Michigan. And at UMich, you can go to UMich and just still be like I guess, well, first I'll say this. There's two ways you can go about college. One is you don't know what you want to do, and eventually you figure it out through like trial and error, and you're usually not very well off when you graduate.
It's a tough route.
Yeah, and then there's a guy that like gets the internship sophomore year, freshman summer, has multiple of them, knows what he wants to do, gets hired for the company he interned for, has a great job when he graduates. My buddy was on that path at UMich. Obviously, it's not because he went to UMich, but he goes to University of Michigan, which helps. And he had just finished his internship after our sophomore summer, going into junior year of college with GM. And I'm just like, dude, I just worked at a restaurant at night and landscape for 10 hours a day, every day, and you made as much as me working like 8 hours. I need to figure this out. Like, he's got a real job. And then that was pretty much it. Like, I saw him do that. Then I met his buddy, Luke. Luke was making $55 an hour as an intern working for Bank of America. And I'm just like, dude, like, I thought I was doing good because I'm making $12K a summer. Like, my buddies are making $5, and then these guys are making $25. And I'm like, okay, so there's levels I need to lock in. And that was kind of it.
Okay, love that. So and then the interview process obviously took place, and you passed, you made it through. Now on the other side of that, what were the steps that you took between being hired and showing up for the summer?
I mean, I wish I could say there was a secret, but it's just the blueprint. Like, to be good at this job, there's like a certain set of, there's a few sets of things you have to do, and if you do those things, you'll be good at the job. I just did those things.
What are those things?
Well, this is your resources. You just have to use them. So, like, what we have access to, or the manual. So if you read that once a month, which I did, read it like 4.5 times leading up to the summer. Pick apart the pitch videos, watch them. If you do everything that they did and say it the same way, obviously you're going to sell. It's like cheating. And then, so I loved those. And then role plays. It was like, I knew you had to do role plays. And then I remember someone talking about like how many you have to actually do. It's like 2 a day or like 10 a week, whatever it is, more than once a day. Is what's necessary to like go top 10. I was like, that's a lot, but I did it. So then I ended up doing that, and then a ton of solo training. No secret, it's just the things that we know we have to do. I just did them.
You make it sound like easy. As a matter of fact, right? And I understand that is what you did, right? Is the stuff that is pretty obvious, right? But if you are sharpening the axe and working on your skill set by yourself, what does that look like? What did you do when you say like working on your pitch by yourself?
So like solo stuff, like say you're not role playing. If I'm not reading the manual or I'm not watching a video and I need to do like some sales training, what I did that I think helped me master like the fundamentals, because all the training we're doing like as rookies going into the season is like fundamentals. You're not working on like the pitch changes and the tone and all that stuff. Like you are to a certain degree, but not like the tiny nuances. You just need to get like objections down, know what to say. I had Quizlets. So I had 2 Quizlets. I had one that was pre-price sheet objections, and I had post-price sheet objections. And the post-price sheet objection one was super long because it was like first, second, and third time they said it, I had a different answer for each. And it was like I'd be in a room, bottom of the library basement. There's like a technology room with all the computers or whatever. I'd go in there at like 6 o'clock for like 2 hours. There's like a massive TV. that was my mirror that I was pitching in. And yeah, my laptop would be behind me, see the objection, turn around, say it to the TV, turn around, check if I said it right, and then on to the next one. It was just flashcards. But
Okay.
that was the fundamental practice I was doing.
Okay.
And all the other stuff, it's just the other stuff. You got to do it.
What led to the commitment? Like, hey, I'm going to do the things that are necessary to be exceptional at this. Where did that come from?
The aha moment. Yeah, I can tell you. December last year is my second outlier call, like the 8 p.m. Tuesday call.
Mm-hmm.
Up until this point, I was signed for EcoShield. I'd done like no training. It had been like a month that I'd been signed. I'd read like a few chapters of the manual. Like I knew you had to do a couple things. I'm just going to go do this summer thing. Mm-hmm. And I jumped on the call, and Ty Phillips was the host. And
Beast,
dude. Yeah. And he said, I couldn't give you his exact words, but it was like, as young guys, not trying to work a 9 to 5, we're all looking for a vehicle. And he's like, EcoShield is like the Mayflower or whatever it is, and it's taking you to the promised land. And I was like, dude, vehicle. And then he obviously explained why, and Brent was on there explaining why. Like, as far as like being 18 to 25, like there's no job that will level you up faster than doing door-to-door sales and get you to obviously an income, but like a skill set, like the multitude of ways that this job betters you. But like when I heard that and was like, okay, up until that point, I knew I needed to like find a way to make a ton of money, be set. Cause like I would never be content being broke. I never have. I've never been broke, but like no vehicle. He showed me there was a vehicle, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. So then top 10 was just like, if I win at most things I do, let's just go win at this too.
So yeah, shout out Ty and Brent for explaining that the proper
seriously.
way.
It was literally like first 5 minutes of the call. I don't know the ship that will take you to the promised land. It was something along those lines.
It's okay.
I'll never forget it. I was like, who is this guy?
The amount of times that I have heard, in each person's unique way of explaining it, just the very top tier people that I feel like I'm really grateful to work with. So whether it's like I've had conversations with, whether it was Tristan or Jack, or you mentioned some of the guys, Brent, Ty, the list goes on, Tanner, Ethan. There's so many guys that are not okay with being anywhere near average, but want to be at that very elite level. And what I notice is instead of them coming in like that they're completely lost and they don't know what they want, those guys, it's not the case. It's not the case for them. They end up coming in having a really strong desire to go from point A where they know they are to point B, and yeah, they don't know how to get there. And so that's the same framework for like each one of those exceptionally high performers. And you just explained it yourself. You were looking for the way, and then a vehicle presents itself. You're like, all right, cool. And if I stick some extra gas in here, and if I drive this well, then I can get there quicker, right, in the way that I want to. So
you don't have a license. You just got to figure out how to get it and drive. Eventually, you'll end up somewhere, and you'll learn along the way.
Yeah, hey, you'll figure it out. Yep. Yeah, the Mayflower definitely going to the promised land.
Right. I don't even think that's the right ship name.
Hey, that showed up. That showed up in America, right? That's what is that?
They didn't call it the Promised Land though. That was the Jews.
No, at the time it was Plymouth Rock, right? Plymouth Rock is where the Mayflower landed.
I couldn't tell you.
Berto, can you check that?
It was the Pioneers.
We're moving on.
The Pioneers.
They were the Pioneers. Right.
The Pilgrims.
But okay, awesome. And so from there, once you knew what you wanted, then it became easy because you knew what you wanted.
Once I knew it was possible, yeah, I was like, okay, cool. I didn't know like that the door-to-door thing was just crazy.
Did you tell anybody you're going to do door-to-door? What was that like?
Not really.
Your parents? Nobody?
No, my parents knew.
What'd they think about door-to-door?
So I told them, and they were like, oh, door-to-door. Like, they knew, like, it'd be a crazy growth. But then when I told them the average guy makes, like, $40K, they were like, what? My mom's, like, one of those people that will research everything, and she's a Google wizard. Like, if I ever need to know the answer to something, I can ask her. She won't know, but she'll find the answer super fast.
Resourceful, let's go.
Yeah, and I told her, like, the company and everything. She Googled it and was like, I don't know. And then it kind of just turned into this, like, my parents have always trusted me. So it was like, just trust me. Like, it's legit. because obviously everyone has bad reviews somewhere.
Sure.
We've got some, so
100%.
I'm sure she found them.
Yeah.
But yeah, a little skeptical at first, but after I was just like, it's gonna change my life, and they could see how bought in I was. Like I get 1 month off of school besides the summer, and that's December. And I took every day of December, and I was in my room, which I'm usually not in my room when I'm at home because like I'm never at home. So when I'm at home, I'm with the family. So like I'm at home, I'm in my room the whole time, and they can hear me like on the phone pitching, like, and they're like, "What's he doing?" And they see me so bought into something, they were like, they couldn't help but support it. So it was good.
Hey,
It was good.
Love that, man. The more I hear about your parents, like, hey, you can tell that you love them.
Yeah, they're like, he's putting so many hours into this. It's got to be legit. So
let's go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that was the way they took that in. So, hey, when I got to really interact with you for the first time was preseason.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, outside of like a couple of, Zoom calls or FaceTime calls. So, when you got to preseason, what was that experience like, going and actually hitting your first doors and, having that moment where you're like, I'm actually here?
Well, first I got to say, everyone's got to go on preseason. It's so fun. Like, it's so fun. If you don't go, you're selling yourself short. Like, in the training that you get afterwards, the training you get there, just knowing if you even want to do it during the summer, like, definitely go.
It's a time with the squad for
sure, man. It was awesome. Yep. So I got in at, like, I'd never been to Arizona. First time on a plane in, like, 2 years. Or 3, I couldn't even tell you. And I get to AZ at, like, 9 p.m. It's dark outside. Go to the house, meet all the guys. It was dope. Met all the GR boys. Gage and Mason were
the big steppers.
Yeah, the big steppers. Gage and Mason in the house. They're like the first guys I ever met besides Dane. So those are like my boys. And like all those GR rookies, my boys on preseason. First meeting, so nervous, didn't talk to anybody really. Saw Dane, that was about it. First door, it's crazy. I mean, I got the guy, the forced price sheet on him. I didn't even get halfway through it. And it was like, no, I'm good. I was like, okay.
Right.
Have a good day, man.
Dude,
no, but the jitters were bad for like the first door, but then like you settle in so quick because all the prep you've done beforehand is literally exactly what you're saying. Like I already knew everything to say. I just had to go do it to a real person, which was cool.
How long did it take for you to go from that? Like, so how long was that process where you're walking up to your first door? Do you remember like was anything in your stomach going on? You feeling any?
No,
nothing. You're just chilling.
When I'm nervous, I don't like feel super nervous, but I feel like people can tell I'm nervous because my hands shake and my voice shakes. So like, yeah, I don't know. I didn't feel super nervous, but I was. My voice was shaky. I remember that. Like I wasn't like.
How long did? Well, that's
yeah, like none of that. None of that.
You don't want to be that. I mean, like, hey,
I'm not sweating. Like, oh my gosh.
If you do start that way, you can work your way from.
Yeah,
there,
you can. You can work into that.
Yeah. So okay. So how long did it take until you were kind of just like flowing though out there and like all those even the minor jitters, your hands were steady? How long did that take?
Probably till we knocked this guy Javier's house, corner lot in AZ. He got a horse. In like the middle of a regular neighborhood, he had a horse. I was like, okay, I'll never forget it.
Sounds dope.
No, it was like the first guy that I backyarded, and Dane and I almost sold him. It was cool. And then after that, I was like, okay, I can move someone to a backyard, build value a couple times. I used a few closes. I was like, yeah, I could do this. And then Dane dipped, and it was just smooth sailing. The preseason vibe is awesome. Like everything about it's so sick.
It's one of my favorite things to do. Did anybody go and jump in the pool in the morning? Like the cold water in the pool?
Oh, yeah. I was the first one up every day. First one in the pool.
Let's go.
Both trips. Yeah.
Hey, that's nothing will shock your system like that, man.
That was great. Yeah.
So, okay, from your first preseason trip, I remember, so this is my recollection. First, I remember interacting with you and realizing that a couple things. You had been preparing at a high level. There's a small percentage of people that prepare as much as you prepared. I got to see that when I saw you on the doors. And then the other thing is you demonstrated a willingness to be pleasantly persistent. So the homeowner liked you as you did it and respected what you were doing. And then you also you didn't back down in a way that was like, okay, this kid has fortitude when he's speaking to people. So those things I got to observe. But then the other thing coming off that preseason trip is a mixture of you and Dane hitting me up an unbelievable amount of ties, which this can't always have people, by the way, listening. Like, there are limited spots. It's just that you guys hit me up so many times about making sure if there was one opening on the next trip that you would be the person that got to go.
Yeah.
And so I was like, also this kid, this kid's really serious about his training. So was there anything you adjusted coming home as far as your pitch goes, what you came to understand from that first exposure to door?
It's hard to remember, like, specifically what I changed in my training. More than anything, I would say I just doubled down on my training. I was like, okay, I trained my ass off, and I only made 2 sales. Like, I need to train even harder if I want to be 5-star. So I was like, I need to go on this trip, or else I'm not going to be a 5-star. I need to be a 5-star. And then ended up going on the trip. Between then, it was just doubling down. Everything I was doing, I just did like twice as hard.
Okay.
It's like twice as many calls, twice as much like solo practice, twice as much in like reading in the manual. It like became like you go from like just training a lot, like being really hungry, to being obsessed. So like after the first trip, I'll never forget the first sale I made. Like Javier, it was a Javier. The first guy that I backyarded was named Javier. Then Javier who I sold switch over from, I couldn't even tell you what company.
When was that? So the second trip or the first trip?
First trip.
First trip?
Yeah, first trip. And I'll never forget it. After you make a sale, then you come home and you're like so on fire. You're like, dude, I need to make so many more of those. Like,
Yep.
I was so dialed in with my training after the first trip. It was like, I was just hungry.
Yeah.
So obsessed.
Yeah. That hit, man. That first sale, that hit is
The taste in your mouth is insane. Like,
it's like, wait, this really works. People need
nuts.
pest control. I just did it.
Nuts. Yeah.
Oh man, I remember the other person that put it similar is Ryan Iceberts.
Yeah.
After people like asking him years ago, this was years before he did over the million. He was like, wait, you're asking me why do I like keep knocking? He's like, oh, well, when I make a sale, that feeling, I just love that. So as soon as I'm done, I want to hurry up and get another one.
It's amazing.
Right?
Amazing.
So talk to me about, so second preseason trip. What's that like?
I was more comfortable. It was cool. I remember like a new house. This time I was with GR boys, but all different GR boys. So this time it was like Jamal, Colin, Dylan.
The boys,
And I was like,
yeah.
the fellas, let's go. Because I knew them from the other trip, but now I'm living with these guys. It was awesome. No, but yeah, just more comfortable, less nervous. Like morning meeting is more like I'm really trying to take in the information and listen. And I was like doing that and taking notes in the first one, but like I was so worried, like, and nervous. It's like hard to retain anything. So second trip, I think I got more out of like the meetings. I got more out of like the mornings, more out of like asking questions to people at night. I think I just got more out of it because I knew what I needed to learn. Like I knew what I was terrible at. I knew what I was like okay at. I wasn't good at anything yet, but like I knew what I was like okay, what I was terrible at. So I knew the questions to ask. It's like after you hit the doors and you kind of realize what you suck at, it's like really easy to ask the right questions to fix those things.
Yeah.
So self-diagnose.
100%. Yep. And then for guys that are going into preseason, so yeah, what kind of words of wisdom or advice would you give somebody that's going to their preseason trip?
Prep, like just so much prep, and like you could say like what prep? Same stuff everybody else is doing. Like read the manual, do your role plays, know your objections, know your switch over. Like intro, you don't have to know your whole switch over because like that's hard.
Yeah, it takes a second.
That takes a lot. But like know your intro, know your 3 switch over questions in the intro. Like there's all these like things that we talk about you need to have ready on preseason. Like there's a reason in that text that your manager sent you that said like first preseason trip, RSVP by booking your flight. You have to know through price sheet. You won't have fun if you don't know through price sheet. And if you don't know any objections, you really won't have fun. If you know how to move somebody, you're gonna have so much fun. Like for me, I bageled my first day, sold it on the second one, I got one, and then sold on the third. The first day, I had just as much fun as the days I sold because when I got in the backyard, it felt like I sold them because like getting told no on a doorstep kind of sucks. Like it's like, oh, next door, whatever. But you get to a backyard, you're like, oh, I was close because getting to the backyard is what it takes to make a sale. So like, yeah, I don't know. Definitely prep. That way the little wins feel like big wins.
Okay.
Prep.
Love that.
Yeah. If you're not prepped, you're not going to have fun.
it's
at all.
It's different nerves. Like there's some nerves when you're doing a new thing. You know, there's those kinds of nerves where you like, okay, cool, I'm excited. And then there's nerves where you're walking into a situation. If you did not prepare, it is not the same thing at all. Those are bad nerves.
Well, you can pretend to be excited.
Sure.
Like, I won't name any names, but like in that first trip, there's guys in that house that weren't prepped at all.
Mm-hmm.
And like first day we come back and like I had a great time. It was awesome. Like I got crapped on all day long. Didn't make any deals. I didn't even get really like that close, but I got in a few backyards. I had an amazing day. They had a terrible day. They're like, I don't even know if I want to do this. I'm like, well, if you saw like any bit of reward from the work you've put in, you would feel like it was a good day, but you haven't put any work in, so there's no reward at all. Like, obviously, you're gonna feel like crap.
Yeah, it's then a lot of guys. It's a wake up call for us. I mean, you're ahead of the curve, Colin. That's why we're having this conversation right now. Is because you did things at a very high level, but the guys that get that shock, sometimes
What's a good shock?
If they respond the right way, they go back in like absolute intense learning mode, and they actually dive in because they're like, oh crap, like I saw people doing well, I wasn't one of them. I got to figure out what's missing.
There's so much to learn.
Yeah, always in sales communication. Well, that I want to get to that later on as far as what you did, what you learned and what you figured out over the course of the summer that led to your success. But let's get to so from that second preseason trip. So we're getting close. We're getting closer. Summer's around the corner. All right. And reason we want to take a decent amount of intention towards this period of time is because I think for some people, they would say a lot of what happens in the summer has to do with what happens before the summer. So preparation. So from the second preseason trip to summertime, and then, that first day, what's that time frame like for you?
Double down again. Like what you just said about the preseason, like the months leading up to the season, making your summer, 1,000%. Like, I can't imagine trying to train the way I trained in the off season during the summer. Like, I would have gotten better, but like, I would not have gotten to be like a 300K rep just because you don't have the time for it. So like, I didn't realize how much the work I was putting in was benefiting me, but I was doing so much because I was like, okay, I made 2 sales, then 2 sales again. That means all the work I put in that month didn't do much. So I got to work like even harder than I did in that month in between the preseasons to be good for the summer. Cause like, I was like, I need to sell 3 a day. Cause I had this like saying I would tell my parents every time I see them, I'm like, 3 a day is 100K. 3 a day is 100K. 3 a day is 100K.
You tell your parents
like if I was talking about EcoShield, I had a smile on my face. So I was like, I'm gonna go and make $100,000, Mom. Like I identified as the guy that made $100,000
before the summer. You told your mom that's
I was like,
crazy.
Mom, I'm gonna make $100,000. She's like, no, you're not. I'm like, I'm gonna make $100,000. And even if I don't, if I'm average, I'm a 5-star now, I'm gonna make $60,000. And she's like, maybe.
Hey,
what she's like, what she's like trying to prepare me, man. It's like, what are you gonna do like if it doesn't go well? I'm like, Mom, it's gonna go well. I put too much work in. So like, yeah, I had put so much work in, I was ready to go. Just dial in. And I could tell you there's a secret, but it's not. When I say dial in, like literally just do the things that we're supposed to do obsessively. Read the manual, watch the videos, do a ton of role plays, and do some solo training in a mirror. You're gonna get pretty good. And then you add like the mindset stuff, which is like 80% of the job, 90% to some people. Like the morning routine, read the books, all that stuff. That's like changing the way I think was a huge part of it. But like sales wise and like what to say on the doors, just do all the stuff that we know that we're supposed to do. And it's kind of petty. Like I used to hate reading. Like reading the manual for the first time through was like rough. It was like 10-minute increments. I was reading like 2-3 pages. But like once you do that stuff, it's like it just starts coming together, everything.
Walk me through. All right, so I believe we're to the point we're ready to jump into the way that your season actually started. So Colin, talk to me about what was the getting ready for and then the launch of your season like.
Getting ready, I mean, like I said, all the little things and like that month leading up, I discovered this podcast. So that was pretty cool. I remember a week before I came out to market, everyone's already in market, like April 22nd, everyone's out there. I have college. So me and DeBerry are at school training our tails off like usual. I'm like so ready to go out, and I'm like checking the boards every day. Like I finally got to log in. I'm like, dude, this rookie's going to be tough to beat. Blake freaking bender, bro. He's sold up 18K first week. That's like almost 3 a day. I'm going to try and do that all summer. I got to catch up with this guy. So I'm like so fired up, ready to get out there. I skip finals week of college. I emailed every one of my professors like, hey, I have this crazy internship. I need to be there on May 1st or else I'm not, like, I'm cooked. Like I said that obviously academically in an email. And they were like, okay, you can take it early. So I took all my finals the week before finals week, got out on Monday, Tuesday, April 29th or 30th, whatever the last day in April is, because it's not 31 days. First day on the doors, first morning routine. We're in like a hotel, like a extended stay. I have a whole room to myself. I'm like, dude, what do I do? I'm in a city I've never been in before. I've done so much prep. I have no idea how this is going to go tomorrow. It's like cold and raining and 45 degrees outside. Like it was snowing. Like at some point in the day it snowed a little bit, and Moses has part of that story. But like, dude, first day, the jitters in the meeting, insane. It was just like, let's just go do my thing. I remember like 4th or 5th door, I sold this lady. Like I moved her 3 times. She said, yes, let's do it. I'm signing her up. I go to get a credit card, and she ends up being like in between credit cards, couldn't use her husband, so I didn't get the deal. In that moment, I was like, it's like 12 o'clock. Like, I'm going to make a sale today. It's my first day. I'm going to sell one. Like, no freaking way. I was so pumped. And then like 12:40 hits, first sale, 1:30, second sale. And at this point, I'm like, no way. I got 2 deals. Let's go. One more. And I'm like at my 3 a day, like 3 day. And then I end up selling 6. Amazing first day. And then, we get Taco Bell with the boys after. First day was so sick. And then just kind of snowballed into a fast first month.
Hey, that's
St. Clair Shores first day. Yeah.
To make sure to bring some context for the listeners or the viewers, there that I'm aware of, there are 2 people that have ever sold 6 in their first day that I've ever seen ever. You're one of them, and the other one is Rob Noack.
Yeah.
So that is
Rob.
yeah. So hey, there's a lot of top talent that do not come out swinging like that. So I want to provide some context, man.
Yeah.
That is crazy, Colin. That's absolutely phenomenal. So, and then the other thing that I remember you telling me, probably during the summertime about this interaction that you had at the beginning of the day with this woman that didn't end up buying. And one of the traits, so the fascination with individuals that like yourself that perform at such an outlier level compared to the median is like, hey, how does their mind work? How does your mind work, Colin? So that's, what people are getting to see today. And one of the things that you just went over, I don't know a single top performer that like top performer that would not have just told that story at the beginning the way you did. You said, so she did not buy. All right. She did not buy. And instead of you being, which would be an average perspective, instead of you being bummed out, you'd be like, oh, I got close, that energy, whatever that energy is, like, oh, and then going with that. Instead of that, it's like, oh, I'm going to get one today because I almost already got one. It's early in the day, right? Yeah. So that's that right there. I believe that is a prerequisite for those of you guys like listening that are interested in how this goes down. So I just wanted to, that's a prerequisite to have that mentality. I believe in sales to perform at a high level. So, all right, I'm button back out of the story. So after day 1, going into day 2, what's that like?
Just ready to go. Fired up. Switch places. Dearborn Heights. First day in our path because we're in Moses's path on day 1. Me, James, Dane, May 1. I was like, okay, this is it. I sold 6 yesterday. Like, I'm going to go be like top 15 rookie, top 10. It was top 10 rookie still, not 15 announced. Yeah, I was like, I'm going to be top 10 first week. Let's go. And then it was a 4-day week because it was a Wednesday. It's like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't tell you what happened each one of those days, but I sold like 22K in the first week.
Wow.
And then the next week, it's like Wednesday, and Monday, Tuesday was great. First Sunday was awesome. Went golfed in the cold, I was like, okay, it's been about a week. Like, dope. And then they're like, oh, there's a podcast today or whatever. I'm like, what? Midweek update. I remember the first midweek update. I was like, what the heck is this? And then my name was on there, and he popped up a picture of me, Mike. I was like, dude, what? Like, the first week was crazy.
Hey, shout out to Mike for putting those together. Yeah.
Seriously, no, the midweek updates are dope because, like, chasing to see my name up there every day is, like, not every day, every week.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I wasn't first, because the first month I was first, like, the whole month, I was like, because I knew there were so many people chasing me and that they were all seeing me every week, it was like, oh, I'm not going to take 1 second where I'm not, like, moving in between doors. Yeah, the intention that, or the fire it lit under me, like, just winning. I was like, oh, I have to keep winning.
Mm-hmm.
But it was cool to see all the work I put in pay off, because it didn't feel like I was doing anything crazy. Like, I was just going out there saying what, like, I knew to say.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't have, like, a superpower. I just happened to be selling, like, a couple more K than the average guy. Mm-hmm. And it was paying off. It was cool. And like, the first Mad Money Monday hit, I was like, dude, I haven't made this much money in a week ever, and that's my bonus? What? Like, I think I got paid like $1,200, dude. I was like, what do I do with $1,200? Like, I have like $2,000 in my bank account. Like, it was crazy.
How long did you do any math as far as, like, that was just your bonuses, right? From that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Did you do any math as far as, like, wait, how much did I just make these 4 days, and how long would it have taken me to make this, in, like, how many hours, how many weeks would it have taken me, how many months maybe would it have taken me to make the amount that I made in total at my last job? Did you do that? Was that a...
No, but I can tell you. So, like, landscaping last summer, not this summer, but last summer, I was landscaping for, like, it was like 7 a.m. to like 5 p.m. It was like 10-hour days.
Okay.
5 days a week, sometimes 6 days a week. Most hours we ever worked was like 60, usually like 50. I was making $18 an hour taxed. Paychecks were like $600 a week. So I made like, I'd have to work like 2 weeks to make my first check.
In bonuses. That's not the commission.
My first bonus check was 2 weeks at my other job.
Yeah. If you start doing the math, when you take now, you know what you made on the pay scale when you worked your way up, commission percentage, add that bonus, and that realization has a lot to do with why a lot of people get into what it is as far as what we do. Man, what sales is, that's crazy.
Now that you bring it up, there was a day I remembered, like, the time that I used to, like, the difference. Mm-hmm. The first day I sold 10 was like May 21st or something. Mm-hmm. I sold 10, and I remember, like, looking at how much I sold. It was like 9 point something K or whatever. It's like, if I sell 300K and get 50%, I just made $5,000 today. $5,000 is what I made in like 2 months at the other job. 2 months in a day. Like, that was wild to me.
Wild.
It was more than 2 months, because like $500 a week is $2,000 a month.
Yep.
Like,
hey,
that was the first, like, bang.
I felt so lucky when that happened. I mean, obviously, you know, you work your tail off, and I had that moment too. And like, this one is one of the biggest moments to stand out in my mind, because it was the time that I knew I'll never work an hourly job for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I learned how the price sheet worked the night before.
I remember this story. Yeah.
Man, I learned how the price sheet worked, and like, and everything just made sense. I understood the sales process for the first time, and I hadn't sold more than 3 in a day up to that point. It was kind of just spitballing. It was before the time that we had kind of put together the program where people can come in and learn step by step.
Yeah.
And so once I learned that, I went out the next day and I sold 7. And I just remember at night, I did the math exactly I did the math, and it was over a month of my life that I just cut off my earnings. Like, I just made over a month of like what I would have used to. And I was like, oh wait, can I do that? If I do that again tomorrow, that's 2 months. Wait, can I, like, 2 weeks fast forward an entire year? Can I get to that point where I'm good enough for this job that I can do? And I was like, how much of my time can I buy back? How much longer do I get to live? Am I gonna be like 300 years old in like livable years outside of hourly if I can keep doing this? And so it was just selling. Yeah, I was like, I'm in sales. Like, I want to be in sales forever. This is amazing.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, you see the whole, like, get paid what you're worth. I'm like, dude, no way I'm worth $5,000 a day. But like, you are, if you do it, like, you sold them. you
Yup,
get the money.
it's production-based, man.
it's
You brought them to the
right.
table, yup.
Seriously, it's still weird to wrap my head around.
And the
So
astounding
much
thing,
money in sales.
so it's wild, man. It's wild, and the astounding thing, which is, I mean, I guess there are some people that that fall in this category that I am one of the reasons that I love being here is because not only were you selling those accounts at a really high level, but Colin, your cancels are really low.
Yeah.
Really low. So like that means that there was no wool over anybody's eyes and you weren't being, dude, you sold really high quality accounts that are still like at a very high retention level right now with those customers. So that was cool to see those things work in combination, with each other, performance and quality.
I'm glad they stuck.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I know you'll get paid off good accounts. So
Seriously.
all right. So let's jump into, I'd like to get a little bit more granular with your process. Okay. So
Yeah.
will you walk me through first, let's go through kind of your morning routine, what that looked like, the controllables, and then your nightly routine.
Yeah. Morning routine, savers. So I was up 6:30, my alarm would go off. So I would be in the shower first. By like 6:33, I'm in the shower, cold shower. Just straight cold water. None of that like warm it up hot, do cold at the end. That's for babies. Like, make it cold. It's like 2 Red Bulls straight to the dome, but it's free. So yeah, I would do. That was my silence. I used to be like a huge like music in the shower guy. I wasn't doing any meditation, but I was like, okay, since I'm not having music on in the shower, I can count that as my silence.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like getting ready for the day in the shower in like that 5-10 minutes, and then affirmations in the mirror, visualization, had a vision board above my bed, exercise. I wasn't going to the gym during the summer. I know some guys do, but a lot of them do it for just like a routine thing.
Mm-hmm.
For me, my routine was like, okay, I need to get out of the room, move a little bit. So I just go in the living room, do some push-ups, like 30, which is light, but I was doing push-ups I didn't want to, which is the principle.
Mm-hmm. Getting the blood flow going is also something you're accomplishing.
Right.
That.
Reading. First month of the summer, I was finishing Atomic Habits because I was like reading that book like going into the summer. So that slowed down in the summer. I ended up finishing it like a month in. That was my morning reading at the start. And then the rest of the summer was Bible every morning. Proverbs. It's like 30 chapters or 31. So if you read like one every single day, I did 2 chapters a day. So I'd read it twice a month. It's like, I don't know, Proverbs, if you don't read the Bible, it's just like stuff to live by.
Yeah.
It just like describes a person you don't want to be and then talks about what you should be in the image of God, which is cool. A religious guy.
Right.
So yeah, that was a good start to the day. And then scribing, straightforward, just write about the day before, how it went, what I was thankful for. And then at the end of it, I would write, let's have a day. And that was it. And then that was our thing every morning.
Let's have a day.
Let's have a day.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's a great part of the morning.
Yeah. So Savers morning routine, breakfast. We'd snag Panera on the way to the meeting. So like we're out the house like 7:50. Panera. Obviously, I had my cup of coffee because I need it.
Yeah.
I was making coffee at the house, so that was cheap. But coffee, Panera, meeting, off to the doors.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What was your apartment before we get to nightly routine? What was your like apartment situation? Who were you with? What was summertime living at the apartments like?
Dude, the bad boys culture. Obviously, it's the best culture in Michigan. So we're the best team. I would make the argument it's the best culture in the Midwest. I mean, you got your Gremlins down south, so I don't know if we can compete with them. But like,
Gremlins are wild.
The bad boys, dude, the culture we created was unmatched in our office. Like the car group vibe, insane. Like everyone's dialed, everyone's ready. The music, like if there was music on, it was like with the intention of all of us getting lit, not just to be on. Or because we just wanted some background noise, we put on a podcast, we learned something. The house, morning routines, it's silent in the morning. Like there's really no one says a word. We're all just moving around the morning. Like that's it. Everyone's getting ready. Everyone's doing their savers. Everyone's doing their push-ups. Everyone's has an AirPod in listening to like an audiobook, whatever it is. So we're dialed in the mornings, and then nighttime, dude, car group on the way home is like you're obviously old, retired athlete. Not old, but you're a retired athlete. Anyways, you're in a weight game.
All right, Sal.
Yeah,
how did you sneak into this podcast?
Yeah. So when you're as old as Jared and I. Is that better? Is that better?
Hey, I was just going to say,
retired
first
athlete.
of all, I'm the youngest person everywhere I go. Like any rooms that I'm involved in, except when I walk into a room with the boys, man. Then I'm grandpa. Yep.
Grandpa Jared. How old are you?
I'm 30.
Damn.
You pulled the Kevin Hart.
Yeah. Anyways, no, like, dude, best way to describe culture on the way home, dude. An away game that you just dubbed away, your team, the bus ride home is just so lit. That's every day because we all get in the car. It's like, how much you make today? $1,000.
Yep.
$2,000. You made $3,000, or like you made $500 because it's like every day you're just getting rich. It's a weird feeling, and all of us have never experienced money before. So it's like, yeah, that was the vibe on the way home was so sick.
Did you guys have like any system? Like I was FaceTime in there, so I got to see the vibe. It needs now, but did you have any rules like who got the front seat? I know.
Oh yeah.
I know Dane like drove the expedition out every day, right?
So we called it the bug bus or the bang bus, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, shotgun was the only rule. Shotgun, if you won the day, you get shotgun on the way home. And our hoods were always like 30 minutes to an hour away. We had like some trips. So it was like, if you got shotgun, like you won shotgun. And then the big controversy was always on Mondays. Who gets it? No, we didn't sell it yesterday. It was the week leader from last week. So who won the week? So
good scenario for you.
Yeah, granted, the chair was pretty comfortable. I got it almost every day. But like, when the boys beat me, it was like, I need to get back up there.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, that was the bus. And then we called it the bang bus, not for explicit reasons, but just something to add to the bad boys culture. If you're not doing this in your group chats, you have to. Every time we make a sale, we send a text. So it's like, if I made a sale, it's bang in all caps. Like I'm sending bang in all caps, like 10 G's. Like first one of the day has to be the most lit too. And all the boys are like reacting to it. And I'm like, let's go. Like you can't help but be on fire. You see your buddy make a sale. Everyone's lit in the group chat. When you're standing on the doorstep and you're just like reading that, you're going to be smirking a little bit. Someone answers the door. You're going to be in good state of mind. And then you make a sale. And then it's just like bang, 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 bang. Like, and then we called it the bang bus because like all day long we're just sending bangs. It's sick.
Hey, I love that, man.
We added you to the group chat a month in, and you were like, bang. Like, what are these guys talking about?
My phone blew up on the regular, man. When you guys were hot, bangs were coming through really frequently. And I'd be like, hey, like if there was a day where there's a drop, I'm like, dude, what's going on? I haven't seen a bang for like an hour and a half. Like, what's happening? You know, then it'd make up for it.
Did you mute the group chat?
No, definitely not.
Really?
Because I liked seeing it. Like I knew somebody just made a sale. And a bang is once. Hey, it's not a future bang. It's once they've signed, once they're scheduled.
Yeah,
that's a bang.
They're scheduled.
Yeah.
Like if you like make a sale and they're not on the route, they just have a signed agreement. You better not send a bang.
Use a different word for that.
Like, I don't see it in the feed yet, boy. That's what I would say. Like, come on. Where's it at then? Why aren't you on the boards?
That's a one-legger. That's a one-legger.
Yeah, one-leggers.
What stood out to me about that, guys, if you that was a team where guys that have been on a sports team, you're competitive. You guys were merciless as friends to each other in ways that were like, those were good memories in sports. Those were good memories.
You got to bully each other to be friends.
That's obviously in this situation, sure.
Yeah. Oh, it was great. Love those boys.
Obviously, this is a super competitive environment.
Yeah.
What are some of the competitions that stand out to you over the course of the summer?
Oh, so much. Well, throwdowns, obviously.
Throwdown Thursday?
Yeah, don't lose. Do not lose. Like, it was like amongst the bad boys, if we challenged each other and one of us lost, like the whole next week you're hearing it. Like if that boy Josh beat you in a throwdown, you will never recover. Like Dane lost to Josh. I will never forget this. The rest of the summer, Dane was a vending machine for free merch, was his nickname. Because Josh is like, dude, I get free merch from you every week. And then Chris would be like, shut up, bro. He's like, I know you're not talking. I beat you 2 weeks ago. And it's like, no. So throwdowns so lit amongst the bad boys and obviously the office. Shout out my boy Salvi, only guy to beat me all summer.
Okay. That kid?
Oh, I love it. What a boy.
Yeah.
He beat me like 3-2. Dude, one time he beat me, I thought. He beat me 3-2 again. And then End of the day, I lost. It's like 8:30. We're driving back or whatever. And he calls me. He's like, dude, I don't have a card on file. And I won on like a contingency.
I respect that.
I respect it.
that. Yep.
At first, I was like, oh, I know Nate was telling you not to tell me. He's like, no, Nate was the one who told me to tell you. I was like, all right, show.
Hey, that's
Shout
cool.
out the boys.
That's cool.
Shout
Yep,
out the
yep.
boys. No, but
you don't want to lose a Sal. If you're gonna lose somebody, don't lose a Sal, man.
Yeah. Sal's a little shit talker.
For sure.
Excuse my language.
You're right.
But no, other competitions, top 10 rookie. I mean, I was chasing it like solo for a while because Blake like hadn't been, he wasn't in the picture yet. Like he was top 30, but like that wasn't on the list every week. And then come like July when I think it was like first week of July, Blake's in like the top 30 list. And it was like every day, like me and Blake were like when we dapped up in the morning, it was like, let's go, dude. Like, let's go. Like today's it. Like we're going to Cabo.
Yeah.
And so like that was huge. The top 10 rookie race from the start. I was so dialed into that. Like every day I'm in the car. Like after the day, I'd be like, okay, what did Joyce sell? What did Bjork sell? What did Mumby sell? Like what did Jones sell? Victor White, what did he sell? Like I was checking every day. So like that was huge. And then Shield preseason was so fun. Like we were winning. I remember first week, Seattle South. See ya. That was awesome. And then Seattle South got the clap, and then after that, I mean it wasn't amazing. Taking L's, taking dubs, and then Chicago, Ruth Chris week. That was awesome.
Yep.
I know they were pissed their rookie was the reason they lost.
Wait, what?
I was a top producer that week in the office when we beat them for Ruth Chris. I remember seeing them in Miami, and they're like, wait, you're Colin? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, F you in the elevator because I outsold everyone in their office for Ruth's Chris. And I was like, yeah, dinner was great, guys. Thank you.
Let's go, man.
No.
Hey, there's no way to get the love of the team, but to throw down for Shield that leads to Ruth's Chris. Come on, man.
It's something about it. Rivalry week was sick. And then actual like playoffs come around August. Rough week. It's my worst week of the summer was that first week of August.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I wanted to ask about was what are a couple of your biggest tact-related takeaways from the summer? What that means to you?
There's so much. So many like little things throughout the day. On the doors, obviously we know don't take a lunch. When I'm eating my Cliff Bars, it's not like I'm taking a 5-minute break and eating them. It's like bite, next door, bite to the next door. Like, so like you save time. Definitely optimize your time because like there's a big thing in common amongst all the top producers. How are you selling so much? Knock the hours. You can't knock the hours if you cut out like 30 minutes a day in breaks. Because that adds up. You're going to use like a week of your summer if you take 30 minutes a day or an hour or whatever. Someone did the math, ran up the numbers. It's don't waste parts of the day. Another like technical thing, don't waste time with people that give you hard no's. Like for me, it's like, if I give you my intro, you give me a hard no, I'm going to do one more thing to try. I'm going to roll it and try and regain your interest one more time. If I don't get like a silence where I can say, here, let me show you, or like a how much, I'm gone. Because like so much time I wasted in May, like just here, let me show you, running someone through a whole price sheet. They're like, no, I'm good. And then I try to backyard them. Even if I get them to the backyard, they're still just like closed off. Like, no, I'm good. Obviously, you won't know how to read somebody when you're new to it.
Yeah.
And to qualify if they're a buyer. But you could give yourself a rule of thumb. Like, if I can't get someone to say how much after trying to re-intrigue them and regain interest like 2-3 times, you should probably leave. So yeah, wasting time, that just ties into it.
Not only are you not taking, a lunch, but you described a bite here on the way there.
Yeah, so that's like something technical and small.
Don't push people that you're not pushing them anywhere. They have no interest at all,
Yeah, seriously.
Wasting time.
intention. Like you can go through like lackadaisical periods of the day. So like for me, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. is like, it just happens. All of a sudden it's like 1 o'clock. I'm like, okay, 2 o'clock's coming soon. 2 o'clock, I eat my Cliff Bar. After I eat that first Cliff Bar, I get like tired because like you haven't had anything to eat in like 4 or 5 hours or whatever since breakfast, like 9 in the morning or whatever.
Sure.
You go through like little mini food coma. Staying intense and intentional in that 30 minutes to an hour that you're like, you're not physically tired, but you're mentally tired is hard. So like, obviously we know sales is a transfer of energy. So like if I'm in a good mood and you're buying from me, you're going to automatically be in a more, I don't know, buyer's state,
Sure.
as you will. But like if you aren't bringing the energy, we all know you're not going to sell. Like if you're, like victim's mentality, like all day long, we all know you're not going to sell.
Nobody's home.
Yeah. Essentially, if you're tired, you have that, but you're just not thinking the negative things.
Sure.
So like, yeah, just like, and you can intentionally just smile in between doors or like whatever you want to do, get your rhythm, keep your rhythm.
What'd you do to keep your rhythm between doors?
Keep my rhythm. Oh, I put on a song that the beat of the song was a fast walking pace.
Okay.
Like it could be anything.
What's
like,
an example? What's one song that you listen to?
The Thrill.
Okay.
Dude, Wiz Khalifa, like it's like the Walking on a Dream remix or whatever. Like, dude, if you try to run to that song, you will be at like a 7-minute mile. If you try and walk to that song, you're moving. So like if I put that song on in my pocket right here and it's like coming up, I listen to it once, I keep moving. Like you just got to speed up. If you're tired, I know Andy said this, Anderson, he was like, when I'm tired, I speed up. And every time I speed up, I feel like a weight leave me. It's like if you had a backpack on full of bricks, if you speed up, one of them falls out. It keeps moving. Eventually, the backpack falls off, and you're back to where you need to be. So yeah,
love that.
During the times of slump, especially after like a Cliff Bar or a really hard hour-long trying to sell somebody and you don't get the deal, like your energy's low, whatever it is, keep your energy up.
How did you deal with, say that every once in a while there's just like a really negative interaction that like there's some negative energy that you encounter. How did you leave that situation without taking any of that energy with you?
Yeah. I guess it goes back to like knowing what it takes to sell somebody. It's like, you can't sell somebody in a bad mood. I'm in a bad mood. That's like, you have to be aware and know you will not make a sale until you get out of this. Like you could have just got completely destroyed. You're the worst kid ever. What are you doing out here scamming people? Like blah, 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 whatever it is. Like
you're having a bad day.
Yeah, you're having a bad day. Like you have to be self-aware and realize you're not going to sell anybody feeling like that. And changing it is a choice. It's not like the whole like motivation isn't real thing. Like seriously, just choose to be in a good mood. Smile when you don't want to, and look at yourself doing it on your Snapchat camera. You're going to laugh, and then you'll move on to the next one, and then you'll be fine. You're going to be like, dude, what am I doing right now? All right? Like, anyhow.
Is that what your go-to? Like, did you have any tactics that like, hey, man, what was that energy? Hey, man, how do you get back to Colin?
The fake laugh, like, not in conversation, but to myself. Like, I would just laugh out loud. If I can physically get myself to laugh. Like, if I'm just like, and I just like start chuckling, like intentionally, like don't want to laugh. Eventually, I'm gonna start real laughing, and then like next door.
Let's go.
You can do it. I mean, there's gratitude. Like you can't be in a bad mood and thankful at the same time. So like that's a huge one for me. I just start naming things I'm grateful for, which is like everyone has a million things you're grateful for if you're doing this job. Like how much money did you make last week? At least $1,000. Like there's so many different things to be happy about when all you do is walk and talk and you get paid thousands of dollars to do it.
Right. I absolutely love that. That's like a superpower out there on the door.
So many things to get out of a funk, but like those are kind of my go-tos.
What did you do? And I know that some people shy away from switchovers mentally in a way that like you saw them as like this is an opportunity. How did it go down when you were in a neighborhood where people would say it's super competitive, all these other companies are going for it, people have already been here? How did you manage to like continue being consistent when you were in situations like that?
The switchovers is like, if you have a company that's just so much money that you are ready to spend, that you're already spending. I just have to show you why you should spend it on me and not with them. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like logically it just makes sense why you could not be in a bad mood. If you just look at it logically, okay, there's a need for pest control. They already have it. All I have to do is show them why my service is better. It's pretty easy. But like, if you're like, oh, someone's already been here, victim's mentality, like it's already been knocked. They're annoyed by the door-to-door salesman. They already got pest control. You're right. They already have pest control. Let's go. Like there's a totally different, like there's a black and white there. Victim's mentality, like it can be a bad thing if you make it a bad thing. But if it's a good thing, like if someone was knocking the door that I'm about to knock and I'm literally just going right behind the door. It's like some people would be like, no way I'm going to sell anybody. But like all I have to do is crack a joke about the guy in front of me being the flyer guy. Like, or like realize that guy's literally just, he's bringing up the idea of pest control and they're like, no, they go inside, they think about it a little bit. And I just come over there and remind them like it's already in their head. Like you could look at anything as like a good thing or a bad thing, just glass half full. Yeah. For switchovers.
Hey,
it's good. Switchovers are so fun. Like Harrison Township, spider control, dude. I was like, they got spider control. Let's go! Like, bro, it was free. I was like, you've seen them spray, right? And I would almost laugh when I'm about to give the like minimizing of what they do, just because it's so like inferior to what we do. Like the belief in that our service is better than somebody else's is so easy to have because I used to have to watch one other tech spray a house. It's black and white. Yeah.
Yep. There's a moment in my career, we'll save that story for another time, but if I realized that watching another tech do a service,
it's crazy.
That's how good our service is. It's freaking awesome. Right. So this question is based off the fact that in Detroit East, you were very top of the office with contract value, so quality of contract. And then when people are looking at that, the traditional way to look at that is to be like, hey, he's knocking in like super rich stuff, like he's got mansions he's knocking, and then come to zoom in on, which people are more than welcome to, I'll show them the path if they'd like to, but if they zoomed in on the neighborhoods that you were knocking, you were not only not knocking mansions, but you know, you were middle class in it at the high end.
Let's just say we were the beasts of the East, the bad boys.
That's it, man. That was yep. You can neighborhood through neighborhood, and that's why also you can sell anywhere, and you can literally sell anywhere. You made those the best hoods, right? So, my question to you is, what do you think were some of the most important things that you did that led to you having really a quality contract value?
Yeah. So I mean, I kept over 1,000 whole summer. I couldn't tell you what I ended at, but like first couple months, it was like 1,100. And that's, well, one, you have to believe that the service is worth $1,100 a year. So it's like, okay, service is worth $1,100. Like I've seen us do it once. That's $1,100. That guy spent like 35 minutes on the house. Like they're not going to see a bug for like, we could not come for 6 months. They're not going to see a bug just because like you see him do it. Obviously there's exceptions to that, and every office is going to have some lazy technician, but you have to believe that the service is worth that much. And then past that, so many people don't pitch full initials. I don't know why. If someone has bugs and they tell me they have bugs, most people are like, oh, this is a laydown. I would agree with you, it's a laydown, but it's also the easiest full initial you've ever gotten. Like if someone tells me they have ants in their kitchen, why would I ever not give them a full initial? And like if you don't, every minimum you sell is canceled out by a full initial. So like if I sell a full initial in the morning, I know I get to sell a min that day. If I haven't sold one yet, like don't sell a min because it's worth $200 a quarter. 165 is really low unless you sold like a full initial earlier in the day.
$200 a quarter is less than $70 a month.
It's cheap. Ends up being more than that with the egg cycle in the first year, but like it's still like $70 a month every year after that. It's cheap.
Yeah.
For no bugs. You got my number. You can shoot me a text. We'll be back in like 2 days.
Something that is important to mention. It's not that you had blind belief that was in any way careless, man. Your cancel rate's really low because in combination with believing the service, you also, we'll get to this in a second because I asked a question about setting expectations. But you set expectations really well, and you let people access you frequently via text message. And I know because you hit me up or you hit up the GM, like, hey, this customer's dealing with this. Can we get somebody out there? So your belief was backed up by the actions that you took to make sure that your customers had a good experience. And in that way, you were able to, to represent the service to that degree of quality. So
Seriously.
Okay, so but jumping back into
full initials, and then the other thing I would say is price dropping too soon is like you're selling yourself short. Like if I have someone on the edge, like okay, if I backyard them, I'm going to sell them. Like eventually you'll get to a point in the summer where like, okay, I don't have them on the doorstep, but if I backyard them, I'm going to sell them. Often I would go to the backyard, just build value, reclose, and not price drop. I know the model is build value, price drop, close, but like sometimes you don't have to. And being able to like read that in between takes a little bit. And sometimes you might have to move them extra times because it's not the right time to do that. And you're going to like, okay, now it's time to price drop, but I got to justify it and you got to go do your thing. But like, try it. Mm-hmm. There's like so many times I would like full initial somebody on the doorstep and then they'd object. I take them to the backyard. I know they kind of want it, but like they just don't want to buy it yet. I would still sell them a full initial in the backyard. When most people, like the first step is price drop from full initial to, I'll treat you like a regular. Something Ryan likes to do that I wish I did, because I feel like I could have had a way higher CVA if I did this. He would drop it in like by $50 or like $100. For me, it was always like, I'm either selling you a full initial or you're paying the recurring. There was never like I'll give you a $250 when the reg is $350 and you're going to get a $200 recurring. It's like, dude, that $100 adds up.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Ryan crushed with not only revenue but bonuses last year. Yeah.
Seriously, no, the $50, $100, like here I'll just give you a $100 credit on this first one, and Sori's pick apart the pitch. He does it, give you a $50 credit on this first one, do it for just a $300, inside and out, everything, and it's like $50, all right, makes sense. But yeah, CVA, got to keep it up, or else you're not getting paid.
Colin, will you take me through what setting expectations looked like for you this past year?
Yeah. So regular deal. I'm signing them up in the like actual contract where I'm running them through it. That's when I set all out my expectations. It's like for me, I'm running through the contract. The one thing that I talk about like so much that I think like will get you cancels if you don't hit on it is the egg cycle. So like everyone will tell them like, yeah, the first two services are back to back. Does that make sense? Yeah, it makes sense. Everyone's going to say yeah because they already are buying your service. They hand you their credit card. They're going to be like, yeah, whatever. Of course, because they're just going to keep saying yes after they've already bought. But like for me, it's like, yeah, the first two services are back to back. Just so you know, like make it super obvious. Like they're both billable. And I'll point to it like super deliberately. And I'm like, after this one, you're gonna see bugs. Like it's gonna get a lot worse before it gets better. I can't come for free. Like I'm like super like, I go from being like joking, being their friend to like, I cannot come until this next service. And then after that, like anything you see, just shoot me a text. But like I said, in between, I'll say it like 2 or 3 times. In between that first month, I cannot come and you're going to see bugs. I feel like a lot of people get cancels like 2 weeks after they make the sale because people are like, it made it worse, whatever it is. And like they don't have a cell phone number that they can call and say it was worse. They just have the office. And then they talk to somebody overseas and they're like, oh, we'll just cancel it. That it could have all been saved if you just set expectations and left your phone number. So for me, super obvious with that. The egg cycle service, super deliberate with how I give my phone number away. At the end, I'll run them through contract. I'm really deliberate with the back-to-back services and the cancellation fee. Just so you know, where it says annual commitment discount, I'm not going to lie to you. That is a fancy way of saying cancellation fee. I say that every time. Fancy way of saying cancellation fee. Because it is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you want to cancel, it's $300. But if you guys wanted to, like, I'll explain to them how the contract works and all that stuff. Like, after your contract's up, you guys can just pay as you go with slight pricing, increases. And I'll explain how all that works. That way they know, like, okay, I'm on a 12-month. Come June of next year, if I want to cancel, it's free. If I want to stay with, I don't have to be in a contract. I almost make them say it back to me. So, like, my running them through the contract expectation-wise takes forever just because like it's super deliberate. Like they need to understand exactly what they're signing up for. It was very rare someone would call me and be like, I didn't know that, which I bet you is a conversation a lot of reps have. Yeah. Like, I didn't know this was this way and this was this way or whatever it is.
You have when you have one or two of those conversations where you didn't mean to be like deceptive with somebody, then you realize the over clarification is so important.
It's
like
so important.
They even when you do things right, so even when you don't have intentions to be deceptive, if you're not slowing it down and making sure that you check in and they're digesting it as you go, then people hear what they want to hear.
Right.
And so you learned that and you made it so clear there. And then also you mentioned 12 months, but I know you barely sold it. What was you were one of the highest in the office in multi-year.
Like 70% multi-year.
Yeah.
But
hey.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they can lock in the price for longer if they want to with a longer contract.
Right, obviously.
Yep.
But yeah, contract super long. And then like I said, I'm super deliberate with how I give my phone number. I'll go do my victory lap or inspection, whatever you want to call it, where I'm sending a bang. And so I do my inspection, I send my bang, phone's blowing up, then I get back and I'm like, I reiterate the egg cycle, how they're gonna see bugs after we spray. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this is my cell phone number. It's not a work phone, this is my cell phone. Like if you text me at 4 a.m, I'll probably respond at 7 a.m. when I wake up. Like I always say, do not feel bad texting me if you're seeing bugs. You're paying for a bug guy, you shouldn't see bugs. If you see one ant, do me a favor, step on it. You see 3, let me know. You see a spider, do me a favor, step on it. You see 2 or 3, let me know. I was like, the word we use is persistent. Anything more than like the regular, like it's Mother Nature, obviously. They're gonna be like, oh, of course, that makes sense. And then I'm like, but seriously, don't feel bad texting me. I get a text like once a week, and it's always like, hey, we're seeing this, this, and this. And as soon as I like respond, they're like, oh my gosh, thanks so much. Like, they're not mad, but they're just comfortable letting me know.
Yeah, they just are communicating.
Yeah, which is such like a. It's so easy. It's so easy, and I think that's like a huge difference in like cancels. And like where I took it from was Joe Hogan last year. He talked about his cancellation percentage being so low. And he's like, I left my phone number with everyone and told them not to feel bad texting me. And I'm like, I want to make sure they know. Like, don't feel bad blowing up my phone. If I don't respond, text me again. Yeah.
Hey, texting is
and don't call me. I always say, don't call me. I won't answer.
It's huge for everybody listening. They gotta do texting. Otherwise, you don't know who it is. It's an unknown number.
I tell them, I'm like, if you call me, I won't answer. If you leave me a voicemail, I'll get back to you as soon as I listen to it. I listen to all of them. But I'm like, I won't answer the phone.
Yep.
There's no way.
You can't. It's unknown number, and you're going to be occupied doing stuff. So
seriously,
that allows you to help people. And in addition to that, it's so simple when they text you. For anybody listening, everybody's got a different GM in their market or a different point of communication for the office. Yeah. But literally, all you have to do as a rep, is screenshot the message you got from the customer. You send it in Detroit East. You send it to like David Galt or Dylan Sinat or one of the guys in the office. Everybody's got their own brand. You screenshot it, you text it to them, and you tell them the customer's name. They say, hey, could you help me with this? They would like a touch-up. Boom. Now your customers love you. You did a great job. Like you're like providing a quality service.
It's so easy.
They'll help you out and take care of it from there.
For the longest time, I didn't know we could call the office and get touch-ups that way. So every time I needed a touch-up, I'm like, Brennan's terrible with text because he gets so many texts. So I would call him every time. I'm like, hey, can you get me a touch-up? He's like, yeah, send me their info, and then it'd be done within like 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah, by the way, Brennan during this summer, I was talking about the rest of the year. Yeah, Brennan's the man during the summertime, yeah.
Oh, he's that dude.
Yeah.
But no, for the longest time, I feel bad because I know I was annoying him. But it was like all the time I was just calling Brennan because like I need a touch-up. And then eventually like, you don't even call the office. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, press 2 and 2 again, and then you talk to somebody. I was like, I thought every time I called the office, I spoke to somebody like way over there. And he's like, no, dude, we got people on the phone. And I was like, oh,
yep,
cool. And then my world got like so much easier after that because I would call the office and then talk to the girls. They're great.
Yeah,
like just as helpful.
100%,
and more available.
Yep.
But yeah, for the longest time, I mean, I was annoying you a bit with them. Like if Brendan didn't answer, I was calling you next. I'm like, dude, they need a touch up. Like we need to help them. Like right now, I need to text them back. Like,
yep. Hey, it's as long as to summarize, this is important that it's done properly, and you learned your way to doing it properly. So to reiterate the steps, right? You left your contact information with them.
Yep.
You told them text me. Versus calling, I can help that way. Make sure I know who it is that's texting.
Don't feel bad about it.
Yep, don't feel bad about it. You made sure they understood that none of that is available until after the second service, because then we're able to do our job properly, and that's when we want to deliver the results.
They're going to see
90%
bugs.
of bugs being gone. Yep. And then in addition to that, when they communicate with you, all you have to do is forward it to either the office staff or one of the people on the service side with their information, and boom, you know how much more money you end up making in addition to actually helping people at a high level, because then you're facilitating a quality service. Make so much more money.
And the cancel
People
fee.
like you.
Make sure they get it.
Yeah.
There's always got to be a, does that make sense? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I love the way you worded that. You said, this is a fancy way of saying cancel fee.
Yeah, because it is. I'm like when we get trained, it's like, if you were to cancel, all we ask is you pay back the annual commitment discount that we gave you on the first service. Does that make sense? Yeah. Everyone's going to say yeah. But like if I'm like, this means cancellation fee, it's $300. If you want to cancel, it's $300. Does that make sense? They're like, oh, yeah. And now they know. Don't even try to cancel.
Hey, that's thorough.
Yeah, it's
like
my post-sales process after I get a yes is long.
It's great. It's worth it. You keep the customer.
It's 5 minutes, yeah, probably.
Yeah, love that guy.
And then after my victory lap, when I hand them my number, I don't really leave until I can tell they like want me to leave. I'll just kick it with them for 5 minutes, like talk about something else.
Did you ever start venturing into referrals during that period of time, like that last 5 minutes you talked to him? Okay.
Oh yeah, I'll never forget this guy, Ross. Sterling Heights. I signed up his whole family, but he didn't like bring any of them up that they were living on the same street as him until like 10 minutes post sale. He's like giving me a cigar at this point. Like, and I would have never known. And it turned into like a 6-day from like I had 2 at that point. And no, that was cool. Like the referrals are good when just keep talking to them, especially in neighborhoods where like ethnic neighborhoods, families all over.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's so much juice in referrals.
Love that. Yeah. Love that. It's huge. You know, once they trust you with their service, why wouldn't they also pass along to people they care about? You know, if they need the same thing done. Colin, kind of jumping here to a little bit of a different element of the sales process, outside of the technical words and all that on the doors. What were some of the things that you learned are really important for people to have as part of their, whether it's their attire on the doors, whether it's a part of, you know, if charging, food, what in addition, what additional things should people be aware of to prepare to perform at the highest level that don't have to do with the verbiage?
We got to get a bucket hat. No. Seriously, I did wear a bucket hat every day of the summer. I mean, it helps when a kid answers the door and says, "Mom, the safari man's here," instead of "What do you want?" Right? You don't look like a salesman.
You know, there's so many guys that started wearing bucket hats.
Dude, I know. It's awesome. No, I think the bucket hat got me some sales. But attire-wise, tech it. Like, look like a tech. Look like a bug guy. And then, like, for me, what that looks like, obviously don't wear sweatpants. Wear the tech shirts.
If you wear sweatpants, you're fired.
Yeah, seriously. Don't wear sweatpants. And like if you're wearing pants, I always go khaki, but like a cargo khaki because it looks more like a work pant. Mm-hmm. Don't be scared to wear the same pants 2 days in a row. They get dirty, kind of looks good, right? You look like you're working.
Sure.
For me, first 3 months, I wore work boots, like heavy work boots. Like I looked legit. Shirt. I mean, you can untuck it, but you don't look very bug guy with it untucked. Tuck it in, you look a little more legit. Mm-hmm. Gloves. You don't got to wear them ever. If you have them hanging out your back pocket, though, you kind of look legit. Tool belt. You don't have to have anything useful in there, but you're wearing it. You kind of look legit. So keeping up the appearance of a guy that knows what he's doing is a professional, even if you've been doing it for quite literally 6 hours and it's your first day. Like if you look professional and you act professional, they're going to believe you're professional. Mm-hmm. And eventually a month later, you're a professional. Like you know everything there is to know about our service. What to bring on the doors. Obviously I'm bringing a price sheet. I'm bringing my phone, a portable charger, fully charged from the night before. If you're not charging your portable or if your manager has to bring you one more than once, shame on you. Yeah. And then Cliff Bars, 2 of them. It's pretty straightforward. All that stuff is stuff everyone else is doing. Mm-hmm. 2 Cliff Bars is pretty standard for the regular door knocker. Pop one at 2, one at 4:30. Keep the energy going, and then charge your phone at like 6 o'clock if you need to. I mean, a lot of times if you got a newer iPhone, you probably won't even need to charge it, unless you're on like Snapchat and Instagram in between doors, which shame on you.
That doesn't do the right vibe. Doesn't get you the right vibe between doors.
Seriously.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my attire, and that's what I brought out. And if it's raining, just keep one in the back of the truck. If it starts pouring, have your manager drop it off, or throw it in a bush. It's even easier.
Talking about like a coat.
Yeah, like a raincoat.
Okay.
Yeah, because nobody likes to be soaking wet.
Yeah.
Granted, you only get wet once. I hate that saying. I'm still wet. It sucks. Just put a raincoat on.
A raincoat. The only time that I feel like rain has any impact against somebody that has a strong fortitude is if it's freezing rain.
Oh, that sucks.
If it's freezing rain, you got to find a way to shield your body from those elements.
You got to take a break in the car.
You got to figure out how to get out of it. But if it's not freezing, then all of a sudden it becomes a mental thing. You know, if it's just normal outside. The other question that I had for you was obviously, summer times when we work and staying hydrated is important. So
yeah,
what would you start with hydration wise? Then what was your strategy to make sure you we're staying hydrated all day?
Yeah. In the morning, I'm just slamming water. It's just like no particular routine involved, like how much I'm drinking, like right when I wake up, 16 ounces. None of that. It's just like I'm putting down water in the morning. During the day, I always had a 32-ounce water bottle with me, like at all times on the doors, just one of those like ones from the gas station. Back pocket, the goal was to have a homeowner fill it up twice, which means I drink it 3 times because I'll drink it first time, then someone fills it up. I'll drink it a second time, someone fills it up third time. By the time I get off, then like I'm not dehydrated. I just had like 90 ounces of water or 96 or whatever. But drink your water. If you're not drinking water, you're killing yourself.
How did you go about, I mean, simple for you because you had the summer under your belt, but how did you go about asking for water?
I mean, it was usually from the people that told me no, because that's when I would remember to ask for water. So many times, like I need water. I'm like on the doors, right? And then so I'm like get really into it with somebody. I'm about to sell them, and I just forget to ask because I'm so trying to like make the sale. But if I need water and I remember to ask, like I mean, I hate to ask you this, but I've been out here all day. I ran out of water. Is there any chance you could help me out? Fill this up. And they're like, I'll just get you a new one. I'm like, oh, thank you. And that was it. I got denied water a couple times, but it was only
a couple.
Yeah, but like you say, you've never gotten denied.
No,
water.
I do. I remember the time I was denied water.
You did get denied
once in my career. Yeah,
I've been denied more than once, probably like 2, 3, 4 times.
So, Colin, what would you say the biggest differences are between the days where you're going through, you make a couple deals because you work all day, and the days that you're just seemingly on fire, your 10 spot days? What are the biggest contrasts in the feel of those days?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, as far as feel goes, at the end of it, you feel a lot better when you sell 10. But what's going on like during the day? Well, for like 10 days, you don't have to make a sale every hour to sell 10. Like it doesn't have to be consistent, like once an hour. It's just got to be the buzz. So it's intention when you got the buzz. Obviously, on the doors, we have to have intention all the time and like work our tails off, minimize time in between doors, all the stuff we know. But when you got the buzz, like you made a sale, you got to be like ultra like intention, because like you're unstoppable after you make a sale. So most of my days where I sold 10, it would be like a short time span. I'd sell 6 in like 2-3 hours, and it was all, and they would be like within 10 houses of each other, because I was so like, okay, I sold to you, I have to sell the neighbor, and then I have to sell this neighbor, I have to sell this neighbor, and like just being so ready for the next door and so prepared to sell them just comes down to intention. And if I just treat it like a regular day, like I sold one, okay, next one will come soon. If I just knock the hours and I keep my time short, it was like, no, I'm selling the next door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just dialed on the big days.
What are a couple additional examples of ways that you learn to paint a more clear picture for customers?
I learned how to explain things in a way like people could understand them. So a lot of people, obviously, like people don't care what the service does. They care what it does for them. Mm-hmm. But like if you can make an analogy as to how it helps them, that in a way they can understand it, it's like that's the golden way to explain a benefit. Like,
You have an example?
yeah. So like spider webs, you know how like a dog will pee on a fire hydrant and just come back every single time to the same fire hydrant?
Mm-hmm.
They'll be like, yeah, like same thing with the spiders. We're going to knock them down and leave a product up there, obviously, so you don't have to do it, but same thing. Spiders don't come back to their house. So like you can explaining things in a way that they can understand them. And obviously, like, I don't know if that's a great example, but like,
I love that one because I've never heard that one before. How would you describe the improvement in your closing ratio? How did that take place? What led to that?
being more human. But like you can't ever get to that point unless you got like the fundamentals down. So for me, I did a ton of prep before the summer, getting to the point where I was being like human and cracking jokes and being myself like was pretty easy because it didn't take long for me to get like in a rhythm where like I was really dialed.
Mm-hmm.
So like first 2 weeks, obviously I'm pretty rigorous with like intro, bridge, price sheet, backyard, close, move, price drop, close, whatever, like the blueprint. But once you get to a point where like you can just be a human and all that stuff is just automatically going to happen, and then you can just say whatever you want to say because all that stuff's already going to happen. You start adding yourself to it. That's when my closing ratio goes up because you start making friends. Because like all we do is make friends and they buy our pest control. Mm-hmm. So like if you can make friends faster, then they're going to buy the pest control. But they can't be your friend if all you're trying to do is sell them pest control, if that makes sense. So yeah, it was being human. It's like first couple weeks I was pretty rigid, like pitch at people. And then it got to a conversation, and then it gets to a point where like you're having a conversation, but more than anything, you're just a guy. I'm just a dude out there. Like, that's what I do. I just sell pest control.
Was there anything you did that kept you away from sounding like a robot on the doors?
I don't know if there was something like specific that I did that kept me from being a robot. I think we just go back to like the principle of not being a robot, which is you have to know all the things a robot knows to not act like it. So like you have to know the fundamentals. Mm-hmm. A robot only knows the fundamentals. To get away from robot stage, because robots make sales. I'm referring to somebody that's not human at all when I say robot. Mm-hmm. They're going to make sales because they know the fundamentals. They know what to do. You can't ever not be a robot if you don't know what the robot already knows. So you got to know all the stuff. Like you got to know your whole pitch, like the back of your hand, and all your objections and everything before you can even get to a point where you're not a robot. Because like, I mean, on preseason, we're all robots. We're all saying the same exact words. And then you get out to market and like, we're all still saying the same words, but you can add yourself into it, which isn't a robot. Yep. You can't fake that. And you definitely can't be only human and no robot, or else you'll never make sales because you won't talk about anything sales related, you know, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. That tracks.
Nothing specific. Just know your stuff first, and then being human will be easy.
There's this quote that was by one of the great NBA coaches of all time. I'm not sure exactly which one it is at this time, but it says, why do we learn the fundamentals? Why do we do the same thing over and over and over and over again? So that we can forget them. I was like, yeah, I love that. A question that I get a ton over the course of the summer is guys that are going through what they will self-describe as, they're in a lull. And most sales guys know what it's like to just not feel like they're at the peak of their game for a period of time. And what was something that you did if you ever felt that if you ever felt that coming your direction, or you were in a tough place, or just sales weren't falling for a period of time, what did you do in order to get back to being in flow state?
Yeah. It's a couple things. The first one, you just got to know it's not you. Like, at the end of the day, it's the law of averages. That'd be the second thing. The law of averages says, like, eventually you're in a lull. You had to get there in order to get back up to where you were, or else, like, you can't always be on a high. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you know that this is just a low, eventually you're going to get a high. It's nothing to worry about. And then that goes back to knowing it's not you. Like, it's not your fault you're in a low. It's just the law of averages. Logic. And then take the emotion out, which is, oh, I'm sad, I'm not selling, that person crapped on me, I bageled, whatever it is. And just, though it's all emotional, like, victim, negative stuff. Some of it might be fact, like, yeah, you bageled, but, like, just look at the fact, which is, if you bageled yesterday, you're not going to bagel today because there's no way that happens twice. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The lull ends at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no bad weeks. There's just bad days. It's like you have a bad day. Next day can't be a bad day. Like Avery talked about at MDP. Like, if he has a day where he sells 5, he knows the next day he's selling 10. Because there's no way you can sell 5 2 days in a row when you're a 10K a day rep.
Where does that identity come from that you're just not okay with letting go of giving your best effort or the pursuit of excellence, or however you describe it? Where did that originate?
When I was really little, just siblings. Having siblings is obviously a treasure. Love them to death. But, like, the Charnocks operate above average, just like the Noacks operate above average.
Mm-hmm.
So it starts at home. Obviously, if it's not at home, it can be changed. And you can develop into that person of, like, I am a high achiever. Like, for me in school, like, if I got a B, it was like, that sucks. Not like, oh, yes, I got a B. Because for some people, that's a celebration for me. It was like, I don't mean that in like a, oh, I'm a super smart guy way. But, like, it was like you're always striving for the win, always striving for the A, always striving for first place. Like, the best, always striving for what is, like, the best. And if the best is what you're striving for, it becomes, like, the standard. So for me, it started when I was little with school, sports, competing against siblings, and whatever it was, friends. And then also, like, I was little for a long time. Like, I was delayed. So I think I had, like, a chip on my shoulder. Like, I need to succeed at everything because I'm smaller than everybody, and I already lost that. So I can win it at these other things. So that's, like, probably origination. And then during the summer, like, or at all on the doors, when I know it's, like, competitive and, like, I'm wanting to win, it just goes back to that stuff. Like, winning is expected. And I really don't mean that. I feel like it sounds douchey, but, like, if I'm not, like, this top 5 list of rookies in the office, like, if I wasn't on that list, then I'm like, okay, then obviously I'm not going to go top 15. So, like, for me before the summer, it was like, okay, to go top 15, I got to be the top rookie in the office. My name's got to be first every single week. And then if I saw my name at first, a little reassurance. It's like relief. And then you go to the midweek update. I'm like 5th. Sick. Hit my goal because I was first in the office. But you just kind of want to win, which, I don't know, like, the wanting to win is more of like a hating to lose. Mm-hmm. Like, you hear so many people say they hate to lose more than they like to win.
Yeah, unpack that.
Yeah, like, hating to lose more than you like to win. Everybody says, like, I feel like everybody says that, but a ton of people say that, and it's like, it's a common phrase, but it's so true. Like, the guys that win everything, like your icebergs and your Averys, and, like, they don't ever lose throwdowns. It's because they hate losing way more than they like winning. Like, Avery wins a throwdown. I bet you he's not like, yeah, like, you just lost to me, like, screw you, but it's like, all right, we didn't lose. Mm-hmm. It's a relief. So it's like there's a difference in how they feel when they win. Some people win and they're like, let's go, I won. And some people win and it's like, all right, we won. You know? Mm-hmm. Like, for me, state cup match where I lost to that kid, it was like, Colin kicked my butt. Like, that hurts. If I won that game, it would have been like, all right, we're going to the final. Mm-hmm. Not like, let's go, we're going to the final. There's a difference. I don't know.
So when you say that hurts, now I understand that. There's different approaches that people take, though, to things that in life that hurt, right? You take an L. Everybody's taken an L before, right? And it's like, oh, that hurts. I don't want to do that again. So then there's two approaches. There's one, to not put yourself in the position to be hurt like that again. And there's two, to do what's necessary that the next time you're in that position, you're going to win. Or you're going to get close to winning, and then you're going to do it again. You're going to win the next time.
Yeah.
What's the
the difference?
what's the difference between those two things? Like, I mean, what leads somebody to? They both those people are hurt by the L. It's just two really different ways of handling it, you know.
Well, the one guy lost and is upset. The difference between him and the guy that's going to go win the next time is that guy knows he shouldn't have lost. It's like, if I lose, I know I shouldn't have lost. And that I lost, and it's my fault that I lost. That guy isn't better than me. He just did better than me because I didn't do as good as I should have done. Like, that's how you look at it. It's your angle.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's your fault.
Yeah, it's your fault.
It's your fault. That's the important part. It's your fault if you lose. And then if it's your fault, then it can be your fault that you win next time.
Seriously.
So, Colin, what comes to mind when you go to those places where, you know, you realize that competing is not a choice? Like, feeling what you feel towards a situation as far as competition goes, it's not a choice. It's not something that you're going to be choosing. It is what it is. You're there. What are some of the moments that come up to you, the most competitive moments of your life where that was triggered?
Oh, obviously that game. Golf. Well, I play against my buddy Jackson like every week. It's every week, dude. He outdrives me. Kills me. Like, it's brutal. And he can just push my buttons with it. So, like, that's super noticeable for me because he can just say the smallest rage bait and it'll get me just because I lose. Or, like, something else. Growing up, me and my buddy Caleb competed in literally everything. And, like, I used to lose a lot. And most everything. We played soccer together, ran together, and everything. And then eventually I started to win. And I remember just how inferior and terrible I felt when I was losing through those years, and then how normal it felt just to win. And it wasn't like I feel terrible in those moments, amazing in the other. It was like I feel terrible and I feel normal. Mm-hmm. So just kind of realized it's like it's not a choice. Yeah. There's so many mini stories, but yeah, those individuals.
That's you said you were losing a bunch and then you started to win. That's got to be the best thing for people early on in life. Is like to just be losing, like based off a situation you can't control. You might have just been better or bigger or just like hadn't been.
Yeah.
Like, I had a bunch of older brothers. I can't remember winning a thing.
Seriously.
I never won. I never won anything.
Seriously?
Like I lost at everything. I was always. What am I going to do? They're all bigger. They're all stronger. They were all like faster. They were better at everything. And I always competed. And I lost every single time. And then there came a point in life.
Probably still hurts.
There came a point in life though where that stopped happening. And but because it did not. I'd never celebrate. I didn't care. I was just like, okay, I didn't lose.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Deep breath.
Yeah. Hey man, same for Shield, like the Shield, the
Shield's
reason.
insane.
Man, I love how competitive like we are as a team and how the teammates lose. This last year, like thinking about this, I feel like it took me some places where, there was a time where like all this was spawned, and then there was a time in Eco Shield where there was an L that I took that was so hard that it was like one of those trigger moments where it was Shield. It was Shield against Orange County. And I've never actually told this on a podcast before. I think I've told this to like a group or two of people. But in 2017, Orange County had the strongest lineup of any team you could possibly imagine. I'm going to try real quick to rattle off the names. This is insane. All in one office. They had just come off a winning year the previous year. Okay, so we had Ryan Iceperts, Kevin Tinsley, Sean Brennan. You don't know Emil or Cam Williams. Pat was on that team. Austin Moisef was on that team. Bo Martin was on that team. Did I say Sean Brennan was on that team? Cody Brogy was on that team. it was absolutely insane. I'm not sure if Deus came the next year or if he was part of it that year. Those were all just one office. Absolutely, I got to be missing somebody, but that was one office, and that was against us, and we were in Chicago. And the previous year, we had taken an L, and like we had a solid team of capable people, but we had nowhere near the star power of what we were going up against on the doors go. So we were not going to lose. That was the intent going into that week. We are not going to lose. This is Chicago's year, and this was just like the people that have the impact and influence as to whether a team's going to be a winning team or a losing team. It is the managers and the reps. It has nothing to do with it. Has to do with if those people don't want to lose. And so I was a manager. There were some other managers that were sick of taking L's. So we told it was nothing to do with the guys running the team. It was us, the management team. We got in group chats and like communicate with everybody. And like, hey, yo, come to the office an hour early. We're gonna talk. Be ready to go straight to the doors. So we set up this meeting. We had everybody that came into the room. This was Monday morning. The Shield event was about to happen. It was Chicago versus Orange County. It was going to be a bloodbath, and they thought they were going to dominate. I know they thought they were going to stomp over us, as like rightfully they should have like thought that initially. So we went into the room. Everybody took their shoes off. We made everybody put their phones in like these hats and sit down. And we all sat down in a circle, and then we just. Myself and a couple other guys, we just talked to the team. We're like, yo, you guys know who we're against. Like, I know you guys are sick of losing from these past years. Like, we're going to win. Every single person in the circle is going to throw down harder. They're going to have breakdowns in their team. They're not going to have every single person go all out and like any inefficiency, like any potential talent advantages they have. We're going to wreck them as a result of every single person here just going all out for the next week. Like, are you guys down? And that was like the team talking to the team. And so one by one, we went around the circle. Everybody's like expressed what they were about to do. And so from there, cool, broke it down. Everybody got dialed with Hood, and then we were out. And of that sales team, I want to say a little bit over half of that sales team PR'd that week, myself included. And going down to the final day, I still remember the final day because that was up until like 2020 and 2021 Detroit. There was no feeling that I had that was similar to that, where I felt like just butterflies in my stomach as I was going like that whole day. I woke up with butterflies in my stomach. I went to my first door like I was getting onto the court to play because that last day we went into it and it was a deadlock tie. We were up by like $3,000 in the category that we needed to win like overall revenue. They were a couple hours behind us, so we got out like I started knocking doors. I think like 8:45 a.m. like when we got to our first door that day. And that was the most intense battle, dude. The crazy thing is that it went down to the absolute wire, and they beat us by a few accounts. And like back then they didn't have limits to how long you could knock. So I was out with Dylan Sinai, who's now our GM. He was my technician, and we were driving around at 10:45. I was looking for lights on and people in the garage, and I was jumping out, and he was going to same day at like 11 p.m. He was going to start the job, like if I could make another sale, because it was that close with Orange County. They were still knocking because they were behind us in Cali. So I remember talking to people like till past 11 o'clock, and then I remember it sat in I watched with the leaderboard. They passed us by a couple of counts, and I just remember like the feeling in my stomach was like I felt physically sick. I literally felt sick. I actually got sick. I got sick after that, and that was like that was things like, okay, we're gonna learn how to be the best team. Like from here, we're not doing this again. So, then
Wow.
Shortly after that, Detroit was born, and Detroit went 8-2 its first year, then 10-0 its second year, 10-0 its third year, broke the all-time record for the highest production over the course of 4 months. In 2020, we also set the new record in the industry for the highest per rep average, and then we split up from there. But that was the genesis of that, and then, dude, we just found a ton of really competitive people that don't like to lose and want to make a ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we do now.
I love it.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a good story.
Bro, it's crazy, man. You got to talk to Dylan about
tough
that.
L.
That was-
10:45.
I'm talking like,
Yeah,
started getting sick.
physically ill. I'd probably throw up.
oh, and we did everything. And hey, the craziest thing about that story, bro, I will not say your name. Okay. But listen, there was a person. So we're all recapping the week, going like everybody gave, they're all so proud of the team. And then, you're looking, some guys crushed, some guys struggled, but it was okay. They struggled. They worked their absolute tail off. Got nothing. Like, hey, love those guys. Everybody goes through challenging week. Sometimes you miss your shot. It is what it is. Then we went through and started looking at knock sheets. And there was this individual who will remain nameless. So we lost by less than 4 accounts. And we looked over the knock sheets, and just proud person after person after person knocked more doors than I'd ever seen them knock before. And we got to this one person, and they had bageled they only sold 2 accounts over the course of the competition. They only sold 2 accounts. And so when we got to their knock sheet, they had been sitting at a park bench. They knocked one street and sat at a park bench, and they had refreshed that app at that park bench a bunch of different times in a bunch of different days, and they'd barely knocked it all. And I was a kid back then. I was so viscerally angry. I was so mad. I never said a word to that kid. We were in the same office. I didn't acknowledge his existence. I thought that if he talked to me, I was going to punch him. If he would have just sold 1 a day, then we would have won the competition. And, he probably would have easily done that if he would have just knocked. And so that was an example. I remember thinking I will never in my life ever be that person. And that is the way that I view that person, God forbid that anybody should ever look at me that way. That is,
yeah.
He did not look out. He did not look out for the team. He didn't look out for the team. He said screw you to the whole team.
Ouch.
So that was crazy. Anyway, that was part of that story. Lesson learned. Now that's why we win, dude, because everybody throws down. Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah. All right, so Colin, going from a 375 rookie year to a 500K sophomore year.
Yeah.
What are the things that you're going to do that you've learned that will elevate you from what you did last year to this next year?
I'm going to train like a rookie. I'm already training like a rookie. All the things that we know you have to do to be good at it that are not secrets are not solely applicable to rookies. Do all the same things, get good at it. Reading the manual once a month. I've got more resources now that I'm a manager past the manual. Obviously, the one way to get really good at something is to teach other people how to do it. It's like I'm training my guys. If I'm teaching them how to do something the right way, I have to already know how to do it right. So that is practice in itself. I'm getting reps that way without even having to actually pitch. And then I'm not doing too many role plays right now. It's November. But as we get closer, I'm going to be booking, I'm a manager, I'm going to be booking Calendly links for 30-minute meetings to role play with other managers. And then obviously you got to hit up the best. So shooting DMs to the guys that are killing it. I did pretty well, but there are guys that can sell a hell of a lot more pest control than I can. So
far.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the game plan for you and your team going from 2024 to 2025. I've seen some hunger from some of those beasts that you're bringing out. What's the game plan, man?
Yeah, boys are ready. Obviously, team's not complete. We're not at capacity yet. We've got, a decent amount of guys already. So Chris and I building the team together. Shout out Chris, my dog. Came out with me rookie year.
Yeah.
Love that boy.
Beast.
Yeah, so me and Chris, we talk a lot about, we plan a lot, deliberately what we're doing, training-wise with rookies. So, they'll train with him on one thing and then train with me, and we try to make sure that it's not on the same thing. And then as far as, goals go, we're doing $3.5 million next year. And then I'm selling 500, Chris selling 400K. Boys are running it up. Yeah, bad boys will own Michigan again. So
let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Hey, man, can't wait to see it. I really appreciate you coming in, Colin. Hey,
Yeah.
Thanks for taking the time out and making the drive.
It's been a pleasure, man.
Yeah.
Grateful to be here.
Hey, can't wait to see you and your boys do your thing this next year, and hopefully be talking to you next year on the pod.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother.
All right, man.
See you guys.
See ya.